is gonna take me out now. No. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I have another Great League Remix team for you guys. This team worked pretty decently for me today. I've been alternating between this one and the team that I showed you guys in my last video. So whenever that team stops working, I'll come to this one. The team is Superior lead with Lickitung Safe Swap and Shadow Dragonair in the back. Superior at the moment is very strong against the current meta. I was seeing so many Jellicents, Poliwraths, Whiscashes, so it will do very well against all of those. It will also do well against the Carbinks, and I started seeing a lot of Steelix, and Superior is pretty decent against Steelix. It's also going to hit some of the flyers for neutral damage like Mantine and Gligar especially, and it is going to be decent against opposing grass types because of that aerial ace. Now, I put Lickitung on the safe swap because Lickitung is pretty bulky. Most of the time, unfortunately, it will draw out a Poliwrath, but sometimes it will be able to flip switch because of its bulk and because of how versatile it is. And then Dragonair is just an all-around really solid pick for this cup. It will do well against most of the meta, and I wasn't noticing a lot of fairy types and ice types, so it's pretty safe in the back. If you save shields for it, it can win a lot of matchups. Now before I get into my matches, I just want to point out that this team is ABA weak to ice, so if you see the ice type on the lead, usually the ice type is going to be weak to Superior's moves, like Dugong is going to take super effective from Frenzy Plant. I'll throw a Frenzy Plant and then I'll swap into Lickitung, which is my safe swap, and then hopefully Dragonair with shields up can clean up in the back. Also, Skarmory is going to be a little bit tricky to deal with, but it is going to be a team effort. If all of the Pokemon work on the Skarmory, you'll be able to take it out. Skarmory is going to be tough though. But that's enough on the team. I have some really exciting battles to show you guys. Some of these get super close, you guys will see. Anyways, up first, we are going to see a Shadow Steelix on the lead. Like I said, I was seeing a lot more of this Pokemon in this meta for some reason. I guess people are realizing that it is really good against the Dragon types. So, Superior against Steelix, this is exactly where we want to see it. We're going to try to take it out with the Frenzy Plants, and my opponent actually lets both Frenzy Plants go. That's really good for us. And then they bring in a Gligar. I'm immediately going to swap into my Lickitung because I don't want them to farm my Superior down. So I swap into Lickitung and they actually stay in. And at this point, I've just decided that I am going to save both shields for Dragonair, whatever my opponent has in the back. I think I can take care of it with Dragonair, hopefully. So we let Lickitung go, but my opponent doesn't let me farm their Gligar down. They swap out into a Jellicent, and I'm actually glad that I saved both of my shields for my Dragonair. I swap into Superior because I know I can reach a move on Superior, and this Jellicent is running Bubble, so that was good for me. I was able to reach the Frenzy Plant and take my opponent's final shield, but now I have 2 shields left for my Dragonair, and my opponent is very low on both Pokemon. I am going to throw the Aqua Tail on the Gligar because I didn't want them to reach an aerial ace just in case, and then I was able to Dragon Breath the Jellicent down. GG's to our opponent. And you guys, this next match is intense. I posted it on Twitter and it did really well. You guys will see. We lead Superior into a Whiscash, which is a really amazing lead for us, and my opponent safe swaps into Charjabug. So I'm going to bring in Dragonair, which is going to resist the fast move. Unfortunately, the X-Scissors are going to hurt. So I let the first X-Scissor go, but I shielded the second one, and here this Charjabug was actually not supposed to survive. I was supposed to be able to Dragon Breath it down, but what happened was I lagged for 1 turn. So the Charjabug survived with 1 HP and was able to get another X-Scissor off. I ended up double shielding my Dragonair just in case my opponent had another answer to Superior in the back. I wanted to maintain alignment. I needed to keep my Superior on their Whiscash and whatever they had in the back on my Lickitung. Unfortunately, they have a Skarmory in the back, and this is not looking good. Uh-oh. The Skarmory is going to take my Lickitung out, and then if they reach a Brave Bird, I am so dead here. But they go for a Sky Attack. It looks like they bite a Bid Running Flash Cannon. We live with 1 HP. We farm the Skarmory down, and we go for 2 Frenzy Plants on the Whiscash. The first one is going to take their final shield, and then the second one is going to KO the Whiscash. That was so close. I was so scared there. I was like, that's it, it's over. But this is why we don't top left. My opponent didn't have Brave Bird, and that was my win condition. I was able to survive the Sky Attack and take that win. Moving on to the next match, we are going to see a Whimsicott on the lead, and this is where I said Superior can be used as a Grass type counter because it can get to those Aerial Aces very quickly. You just need 2 Aerial Aces to take this Whimsicott out. I am going to shield the first Moonblast because my opponent can actually flip this. They give up one of their own shields as well to save their Whimsicott, which is completely fine. Now we are both going to be even shields. I'm going to let the next Moonblast go because I know I can make it to another move. However, my opponent makes a catch on their Skeledirge, and I was actually anticipating this catch. I tried to throw at a weird timing, but my opponent still called it. They caught on their Skeledirge, and then I'm going to bring Lickitung in. I did do 1 Vine Whip before swapping out because if I do 1 Vine Whip, I won't take the Incinerate damage, and I can get just a little bit of energy on Superior. So we take care of the Skeledirge with the Lickitung, and then my opponent brings back in Whimsicott, goes for a Grass Knot, and takes our Lickitung out. That's fine. Now I'm going to bring Dragonair in and attempt to farm the Whimsicott down. I did a big mistake here. I was not counting how much energy the Whimsicott had. What I could have done was I could have brought in Dragonair, farmed, and then caught the Grass Knot on my Superior, but I wasn't keeping track of their energy, and because I wasn't keeping track of their energy, I'm going to have to pay here the price. I'm going to take a loss, and this Jellicent is going to be able to take both of my last 2 Pokemon out. GG's to our opponent. I played that really badly in the end. On to the next match, we are going to see a Poliwrath lead. This is exactly why I brought in Superior. Now, I do something weird here, and I CMP tie on the Icy Wind, but also I go for an Aerial Ace bait because all of the Poliwraths I had been seeing were shielding the first move, but this time they decided to no shield. I could have taken them out with a Frenzy Plant, but unfortunately, because I wasn't able to take them out, I actually swap into Lickitung and I catch the Icy Wind on my Lickitung, and then I'm actually able to farm their Poliwrath down. This is actually fine. I have a lot of energy now for this Charjabug that they bring in. Gonna go for these Body Slams, and these are going to get the Charjabug pretty low. I should be able to reach a 3rd Body Slam if my opponent commits the farm down, but they don't. They throw the X-Scissor and they're able to take Lickitung out. Then I'm going to bring Dragonair in and farm this down completely, but my opponent is not going to let me farm it down. Also, I made a big mistake there. I shielded the X-Scissor and I don't know what's in the back. It's always a good idea to save a shield for your opponent's 3rd Pokemon, especially if you don't know what it is. Unfortunately here, I would have really benefited from having that shield because I could have shielded Superior. Superior would have been able to sweep this entire team, but my opponent actually makes a mistake and shields the 2nd Aqua Tail that I throw, so I'm able to get a move off on the Jellicent, and I'm able to get a move off on the Charjabug because they gave up that shield. So GG's to our opponent, we take that win, and that gives us a 4-1 in this first set. Now, I played a lot of these games really poorly because I was still getting used to this team. On to the next game, we are going to see a Charjabug on the lead. Very bad lead for us. I'm immediately going to swap into Lickitung, and my opponent brings in a Dugong. Dugong isn't an answer really to Lickitung because I have that Power Whip that can hit for super effective. They are going to shield the first one and go for the Icy Wind to debuff us. Unfortunately, they can get to 2 Icy Winds before I can get to my 2nd Power Whip. So this Power Whip is not going to be enough to KO the Dugong. It's not even going to come close. It just tickled it. At this point, it's doing neutral, not super effective. But we are able to reach another one before the Dugong can take us out, and we have shield advantage because they used their first shield on that first Power Whip. So we're able to take switch there. Then my opponent brings back in Charjabug, and I'm going to bring Dragonair against it. I no shield the first X-Scissor, and then I take their final shield with an Aqua Tail, and my opponent swaps into Jellicent. This is perfect. I have 2 shields left for my Superior. I should be able to easily take this Jellicent out. They have no shields left. This Frenzy Plant is going to KO, and then my opponent is going to bring Charjabug back in, and at this point, I could have taken the Charjabug out with Superior alone. GG's to our opponent. Moving on to the next match, we are going to see another Shadow Steelix lead. I am telling you guys, this Pokemon is going to make a comeback. Of course, this is exactly where I want to see it. We do not want the Steelix aligned to our Dragonair. I'm going to go for these Frenzy Plants against the Steelix. Thankfully, they don't shield, and I should be able to reach another Frenzy Plant before the Steelix can reach a second move, but my opponent makes a very impressive catch onto their Serperior. What they did was they actually waited a turn, and then they were able to successfully catch that Frenzy Plant. So, well played to my opponent, but I am going to bring my Dragonair in and take the Serperior out, no shield, whatever they throw at me, and then go for an Aqua Tail on the Steelix. I was able to take a shield with the Aqua Tail, and then I'm going to bring Lickitung in because Lickitung is bulkier and absorb all of the energy that the Steelix has. I still have 2 shields, my opponent has 1 shield. They bring in a Decidueye. Okay, what I'm going to do is go for a Power Whip here, and then I'm going to swap into my Serperior. I could have swapped into Serperior earlier so that I could start building up to those Aerial Aces, but I wanted to get the Decidueye low so that 1 Aerial Ace would take it out so that I wouldn't have to go for 2. I was able to take their final shield, but here I decide to let the Serperior go because I don't want Steelix to farm me down. Instead, what I'm going to do is farm the Decidueye down, have energy for Steelix, go for a Body Slam, take it out, and then the Decidueye has 1 HP left. I should be able to take it out with the Licks. GG's to our opponent. Moving on to the next match, we're going to see a very nice lead of Stunfisk. Of course, Serperior is also going to be an answer to Stunfisk. My opponent brings in Poliwrath, and I'm going to go for the Frenzy Plant before swapping out. And actually, because they shield here, I'm going to go ahead and shield myself and stay in this matchup for as long as I can. And I'm expecting them to shield the second Frenzy Plant, so at this point I am committed to this matchup. I have to stay in with Serperior. Poliwrath is not going to be great for my backline, so I'm going to try to take it out. I go for an Aerial Ace here, but it is double debuffed, so that was a big mistake, and I realized that they can reach another Icy Wind, so I immediately swap into Lickitung and take that Icy Wind damage on Lickitung. And they bring back in the Stunfisk. I'm okay with having Lickitung aligned to their Stunfisk. Gonna go for these Power Whips, which are going to be super effective. And I should be able to reach a Body Slam. I don't think I'll be able to reach another Power Whip. I go for the Body Slam. Yes, we CMP tie here actually. And I'm happy they use all their energy here. That means they should only be able to reach 1 Mud Bomb against my Dragonair. And it is going to hurt. And then my opponent brings in a Mantine. This is going to get very tricky. I'm hoping that a Body Slam will put it in Frenzy Plant range, and this Aerial Ace is going to take us out, but I should be able to outpace to the Frenzy Plant before my opponent can reach another Aerial Ace. They didn't farm up as much energy, and then I Vine Whip the Stunfisk down. That was another close game. GG's to our opponent, we take that win. On to the next game, we are going to be up against the Gengar Life. I believe he is a Twitch streamer, and he leads Shadow Dragonite. This is very bad for me. I am going to go for the Aerial Ace to weaken it, and then I am going to stay in for some reason. I should have swapped out, but I stay in with Serperior, and my opponent goes for a Superpower. I'm going to bring Dragonair in and farm it down completely. I was able to take it out before it reached another move. And then my opponent brings in a Lickitung. Now I do go for a catch to preserve my Dragonair in case I still need it for whatever is in the back. But my opponent has a Conkeldurr. Mad respect for the spice, but this thing is absolutely going to destroy my last 2 Pokemon. It's even going to destroy Dragonair. They use both of their shields to protect this thing, and at this point there's nothing I can do. The Lickitung is still very healthy in the back. Dragonair is absolutely going to get destroyed by these counters. I don't even know why I'm shielding here. I'm just wasting time at this point, and a Body Slam is not going to be enough to take that Lickitung out. So GG's to our opponent. Well played and very interesting team. On to the next game. The algorithm is really starting to work against me. We get another Dragon lead. This time it is going to be Shadow Dragonair, and I'm just going to go for an Aerial Ace and weaken it, and then I'm going to swap into Lickitung. I'm going to absorb whatever charge move this Dragonair is going to throw. They throw Body Slam, and then they bring in a Charjabug. This is fine. I'm just going to go for these Body Slams and try to weaken this Charjabug as much as I can. We go for a second Body Slam, and they no-shield it. That puts the Charjabug in the red. That's really good for me right now. I'm going to let Lickitung go. However, we survive with 1 HP, which is so bad for me. That means that my opponent is going to be able to get another Volt Switch in, and now they have a lot of energy on this Charjabug. Now, I think they were 1 more Volt Switch away from another move, so I sniped them with Dragonair. Thankfully, they didn't reach another move. And then they bring in Whiscash. Now, Serperior should be able to easily handle this Whiscash. However, they still have a Shadow Dragonair in the back that is still a little bit healthy. It is in the yellow. I'm going to have to land an Aerial Ace on it to take it out. They go for a Body Slam here, and I'm going to go ahead and shield. I should be able to reach 2 Aerial Aces before they can reach another move, but my opponent lets the Dragonair go. They bring Whiscash back in, they reach a Scald, and here I'm just hoping that I can survive it. We survive with very little HP, and unfortunately it drops our attack, so we simultaneously KO. If my attack was not dropped, I might have been able to take Whiscash out before we KO'd at the same time. GG's to our opponent. I just have one more match to show you guys. This is from a later set. So for the final match of the video, we are going to see a Greedent on the lead. Again, Serperior, because of how much damage that Frenzy Plant does, is really good against the normal types like Lickitung and Greedent. 2 Frenzy Plants are going to be enough to KO, and the Serperior is very tanky. It can handle these Body Slams like a champ. Now, my opponent did attempt to catch the next Frenzy Plant on their Charjabug, but I was patient and I swap into Lickitung. Now I'm just going to go for these Body Slams, and I don't think I'm going to be able to win switch here, but I'm okay with that because the Greedent is pretty weak, so I can take it out with my Dragonair. Now, I'm going to be able to reach another Body Slam. This one is not going to be enough to KO. Unfortunately, they live with 1 HP, and they're going to be able to take us out with an X-Scissor. I'm going to bring Serperior back in, and I attempted to farm it down, but my opponent immediately swaps into Greedent and goes for that Body Slam. I do have to shield there. I wasn't sure if I would survive it. I go for an Aerial Ace, it's not enough to KO, then I snipe with the Dragonair. When I panic, I snipe with the Dragonair because I feel like my opponent can reach another move, so I just bring in Dragonair because the Dragon Breaths do a lot of damage, and they'll be able to take out whatever HP is left on the Pokemon that my opponent has, and take them out before they can reach that move. That's why I bring it in like that. My opponent has a Cresselia in the back. They go ahead and they double shield it against our Dragonair, but I'm able to get it into the red with Dragon Breaths alone. And because they used both shields and I have so much energy on Serperior, I'm able to go for the Frenzy Plant, take that Cresselia out, and then take the Greedent out. I did have to watch for a catch there, but my opponent did not go for a catch. So GG's to our opponent. And that brings us to the end of our video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like my videos, please consider subscribing, maybe leave a like, it helps me out so much. And let me know if you ever use any of the teams I showcase. I would love to know if they performed well for you guys or not. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye bye!